Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's very nice of you to have joined this trial run. The plan for the evening is my showing a 10-minute or probably maximum 15-minute PPT on how the conference is going to be held. I see a lot of very experienced teachers and veterans of conferences. So I would most sincerely request them to give any suggestions for improvement in the plan that we have laid out and which we are going to share with you. I will start by sharing my screen. So this is going to be from the 10th to 13th of February. As you would have seen in the official notification, it was actually 11th to 13th. 11th to 13th is the main body of conference. And this year, taking a leaf out of the central ASI, we decided that we would keep the free paper and the poster sessions on the 10th. And so what we have is a situation where all the free papers and posters are finished on the 10th in 3 screens, because that's the number of posters and papers that we have. And between the 11th and 13th, we have only 1 screen, and all the orations, the symposia and other things will be held, and only the PG award paper session will be shown or conducted on these days. Let us interact and enjoy the program, and for us to really make use of this platform, which is a beautiful platform. Unfortunately, it demands a certain degree of etiquette, but for some of us who may be new to this kind of meeting, I felt that it was necessary to familiarize all of us with the process of this virtual interaction. And that kind of etiquette, kind of rules that are laid out are meant to make the conference tolerable and useful. I use the word tolerable knowingly, because if the etiquette is not followed for others, the guy who is responsible for this disturbance may not even realize it, but for others, it honestly becomes intolerable. First of all, you need access to these screens, and we have sent the login details for the 3 screens, screen A, screen B, and screen C. Please note that a separate registration of your emails has to be done on these 3 screens. Otherwise, you will not have access to the program on the given day. This is necessitated because we need to cross-check on your registration for the conference. You know that the virtual conference, you had to pay either 500 or 600, depending on whether you're a PG or a delegate or a practicing surgeon, to register yourself. So only those who have registered will have access, and to cross-check and make sure that the correct payment has been received, we had to have this arrangement. Now, we had the option of having a direct, like you must have seen in other conferences like the ASI, where you have one login and you can go to three screens from that one login. But that kind of software costs money, and the scientific committee and the EC felt that that kind of money should not be spent. And so this is practically a no cost conference for us. We have spent very little on this facility, and that is why you will have the slight inconvenience of having to A, register for each of these screens separately, and B, this is very important, you cannot go to another screen without logging out of the first screen. Suppose you want to, between 11th and 13th, for example, you want to attend, you are attending a lecture in screen A, and it's not on the 11th to 13th, only on 10th. That's when we have 3 screens. So on 10th, when you're attending a program in screen A and you want to see some other session in screen B. You have to log out of screen A and log into screen B. That is a slight inconvenience which you have to put up with. These things have reached you by email, and several of you we know have already registered, but quite a few have not. There is an echo, so if you can please mute yourself, please. Yeah, there's an echo here. Yeah, so if you have not registered, kindly do it right now. It's important that you must have, that you have access to the meetings. And please note this number. Anand is the man who is coordinating this registration. He's from Keystone, who are our IT backup. So kindly call this number 8095921240. So please make it, please all of you mute yourself, please. Yeah, please mute yourself. Yeah. Those of you who are not talking, kindly mute yourself. Okay, so as I was saying, please make sure that you talk to him and sort out your registration problems if you have any. Okay, you're not seeing a gray black rectangle on the screens. You're seeing only the PowerPoint slides. Okay, fine.
It is only PPT, sir, what we are seeing.
Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. So please note that the program is run centrally by screen managers. Our secretary Chandrasekhar has a group of volunteers who are all either staff or PGs, senior PGs from Mysore Medical College. They will be running the whole program. I've had separate sessions with them already, and they know exactly what they have to do. The reason we don't ask you to share, and you might have felt it many times even in the recently held ASI conference, if you allow screen sharing, it takes time. Some people find it technically challenging to share the screen. And even if they manage, even if it goes very smoothly, when you have, tons of papers being presented, you will end up having, wasting a lot of time in just the process of screen sharing. And so we have completely taken away that requirement of screen sharing. It's all linked, it's all there. That's why we asked you to give your PPTs well in time so that we have the time to do the linking, do the back end work. That is all done, I can tell you. And so the screen managers will run the program. And as we experienced even in this meeting, if you keep your audio on when you're not talking, it causes enormous disturbance. So every one of you, please make sure that you're on mute when you are not talking. And remember to unmute yourself when you have to talk. Okay, so I can, we are having some backup to mute people who have forgotten to mute themselves. But when you're dealing with, 100, 200 people, that process will not succeed. We had the option of having a webinar rather than a meeting. Webinar is more expensive, so we wanted to save on money, number one. Number two, webinar is less participatory. So if you're a member, if you want to say something, I think it's important that we allow people to discuss in these scientific deliberations. So only people who are presenting will be in the webinar. All you see it in ASI on a regular basis in their NSEPs and even in the ASI conference. You cannot do anything other than write in the chat box, and it has its limitations. And so we felt that we should give people, particularly the seniors in our conference, the seniors must have the opportunity to make comments and give, share their wealth of experience with all of us delegates. And so we felt that we will go with the meeting only. And the requirement when we have that is that you absolutely do not forget to mute yourself when you're not talking. Use a quiet room. Many times we see people, elsewhere outside and still, logging on with the audio on. And so all the ambient sound and everything else will disturb people. And this is another important thing. If 3 or 4 of you are sitting and each one of you has a phone or a laptop with the speaker on, it gives the most severe kind of echoing, and it really spoils the whole show. So my advice to you, if possible, sit alone and do it. But if three or four of you have to sit in the same room, keep a distance between yourselves and use headphones and speakers. Do not have the audio out open. Okay, use the headphones like I'm using to make sure that there is no echoing. And the phone itself must be in a silent mode. I think that is an important requirement. Otherwise, you will find that if you're talking, for example, um, you and your phone rings, it's very disturbing. It also doesn't look good. So keep it on silent mode, keep it on a vibration mode. It's unlikely that you will have any disturbance with that. And for most people, I think they should put their questions in the chat box, even though you have the facility to talk. For most delegates, it's good for them to put the questions in and comments in the chat box. The screen managers and the chairpersons will attend to your questions and will answer them. But please note that for the whole session, particularly for the free paper and the poster session, there are only 2 minutes for questioning. We could have given more, but it would have run for 2 days, and I thought that was a bit much. 2 minutes, perhaps two questions on each paper. And so it is good that it's possible that some of your questions will not be answered, but we have requested all the chairpersons, all the presenters to type the answer in the chat box. So even if your question which you or a comment which you put in a chat box is not addressed by the chairperson, it can be addressed by the speaker and by other seniors. I request, there are so many excellent teachers in the group, they will be logged in. So kindly look at the question from a postgraduate or a young delegate. And if you feel that you should share your experience and your answer for that question, kindly answer that in the chat box, so that even if it is not addressed in a verbal fashion, it is addressed in a written fashion and the delegate gets the required answer. And if somebody, as I said, it's an exception for somebody to talk. Most of it will go on in the chat box. But yes, certain important things which cannot be typed in at length will have to be discussed. And particularly from the seniors in the group, they may want to make a very important contribution in terms of their input. Kindly raise the hand on the Zoom. There is a way in which you can raise the hand. I'm sure you know about it. If you don't know, please experiment with it. And if that is also not possible, if you have difficulty raising the hand on this on the Zoom platform with a symbol, then kindly type it in to say, look, can I say something, can I make a comment? And of course, Rajan has raised his hand. I will take your question. Can I take your question later at the end, Rajan?
No, just to show that it can be done. That's all.
Fine. That's great. Yeah.
I'm
So,
sorry.
no. I think it's good. So you'll see that, that way you can show that then the moderator, screen manager or chairman, they will easily see this and they'll call you to give the comment if they have the time. Please note that if they have no time, they'll not be able to do it. So if that cannot be done, as I said, you type it in the chat box, and then people will be constantly monitoring the chat box and they will give you an opportunity. As I said, the time for discussion, particularly on the 10th, where there are so many posters and things, is very short. But on the main conference days, learning our lessons from our Bangalore conference, where many people said that the discussion time was short. Even though I and Rajan, who had at that time thought of it, felt that it was a fair enough, long enough discussion time, but many in the feedback said that there should have been more time for discussion. And so we have increased it. You will have a full 10 minutes for discussion after every presentation, every faculty presentation during the conference. So even with that, there can be limitations of time. And so kindly keep your comments short and questions direct. And one of the best ways to avoid it is to say something that somebody has already said before. You would have got up saying you want to say something, and the guy before you or would have made the same or similar comment. So please don't say, no, I agree with what he said. That would waste time. And I would like all of you to log in before your scheduled presentation time. It's practically impossible other than for the organizers to be logged in from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. But I know that, you have sessions and you know about all these sessions. If you don't, just go to the KSCASI website. The whole program is on the website and you'll get all the details. But please log in at least 30 minutes before your scheduled presentation time. We have given instructions that even if you finish a session early, the next session should not be started early. Suppose we have a 4 to 5 p.m. session, and for whatever reason, absentees would be the commonest reason, it gets over by, say, 4:45. So the next session will start at 5 and it will not start at 4:45. All right. So those 15 minutes have to be filled. And so I'm requesting all the chairpersons, all the seniors here, if you are, if you're there, kindly use it as a time for teaching. Share your experience about the topics that were discussed in that session, about a paper or about a poster. You can either critique the paper, you can say how it could have been done better so that the postgraduate learns for the next time, or B, you may talk about the subject in the paper. Suppose there is a paper on gist, for example, you may want to share your experience with gist. So please use that time to fill up that 15 minutes. But if that is also not possible, screen managers have access to several quiz questions, or 200 of them. So they can use, we call them fillers. So they can use those fillers on the screen to keep the audience engaged for those little gaps of 10 or 15 minutes. So there is no problem in terms of filling time, but I suspect the problem will be to keep to time. Most of the time, rather than having time, we'll be overshooting the given time, and that is also a strict no. So we have told the screen managers to actually stop the presentations at the given time. Poster, 3 minutes, the presentation will stop. Paper, 3 minutes. Paper, 8 minutes, the presentation will stop. Question and answer session, 2 minutes. The screen manager will tell you the time is up. And I request the chairpersons to stop the discussion. As I said, if anything more has to be said, it can be said on the chat box. This kind of keeping to time is extremely important. And I do hope that our chairperson and all our respected seniors do not get offended when we stick to time. And we have told the screen managers to please do that. Okay. The next thing is to have a good bandwidth. I recommend that all of you do not use your phones and do not stay outside and just casually talking. Take it as a very serious classroom exercise, as it were. Sit in a quiet room and make sure that you have a good bandwidth. If you don't have a good bandwidth on a day-to-day basis, kindly find a place where you have a good bandwidth and then attend the conference from there. One of the big advantages of central projection is that your bandwidth will be used only for your voice. And so you do not, even with a relatively slower internet speed, your voice will not be breaking. If you had to have a video, show a video, it would demand a lot more bandwidth. As I said, please be formally dressed. It's good for you to have your video on when you're presenting. All the presenters, please note that while we ask you to keep your video and audio off when you're not talking, when you're talking, it's equally important that in addition to your audio, that you have a video on, and kindly make sure that you're formally dressed, at least in the top half of the body. Okay, make sure the good light falls on your face. Many times we see a light at the back of the back wall of the room you're sitting in, and you'll find that that is highly disturbing. So kindly make sure that you please pay attention to all this now, between now and the 10th, so that you have a designated place where you give a good impression and have a good audio. Please understand, the judges and the chairpersons and the audience in general, you cannot expect them to put up with breaking voice, dark images, and things like that. So technology should not beat you. Please make sure that you get these things. As I said, do not use your phones. I think it's good to use a PC or a laptop. And I already mentioned this. A headphone with a speaker like this, I'm sure you're getting a very clear sound. And that's because even for very informal meetings like this, forget about conferences, I use this and make sure that there is a reasonable background, that the light is in front of me, and so things like that. And it's good to have those little things. Um, I have already said this and I won't repeat it. Make sure that there's no other person in the room has a speaker on, which will give you very bad um, echoing. As I said, the screen manager will show you they're all well trained. They will not waste time. But if for some technical reason the projection is interrupted, we will give you time for it. We will not penalize you. But I'm at the same in the same breath, I'm going to say, if you do not have a bandwidth and you do not connect properly, we cannot give you more time. All right. So we have, in fact, Chandrasekhar, our secretary, has run special lease lines to have a good bandwidth, and I do not anticipate any problems as far as projection is concerned. But if there are problems, there are backups. There are three of us with bandwidths for each one, one for each screen, and so we do not think that barring some real disastrous situation, we do not think we will have problems with screening. Okay, but the disadvantage of somebody else running the show for you is that most of the time they will see that you are coming to the end of the slide, and automatically a screen manager who's a senior postgraduate or even an assistant professor, he will change the slide. But if they don't change the slide, you please ask them to change the slide. Don't get flustered about it. Sometimes they may change the slide too soon. If they do that, please ask them to go back to the previous slide. So don't hesitate to say that. But I do not think that will be a limiting factor in your presentation. I already mentioned about time. I will not say it again, except to say that expect the presentation to be stopped if you exceed time. So I strongly urge that all of you rehearse your timings 3 times, 4 times. Make sure that you are within the specified time. And judges have been told very clearly that if you exceed time, however good your presentation is, you will lose marks. Please remember that. And I have already said, keeping the thing, I'm repeating it so many times because that is the biggest problem in a Zoom meeting. Well, I welcome all of you again to the conference, and I'm sure that if we follow these little things, that we will have a very, very good conference. Thank you very much for your very patient listening. I'm very keen to take your questions. I've started seeing the chat box. Okay, let me just take it from the beginning. Yeah. So Shivaram makes a point that hand raised may not be seen by the chairpersons. Yes, everybody has been instructed. The screen manager will see, and several of us will also be watching. Of course, all of us, I know the organizers cannot be in 3 screens, but we have backup people who will be logged in. Every one of you, if you see something, seniors particularly, if a hand is raised and somebody doesn't see it, feel free to unmute yourself and talk to them, and talk to the chairperson to address that question. That I think that's how it makes it smooth. Dr. Kinal, ideal speed, I think you should have a minimum of 100 Mbps. It'll be a good one. It'll be very good. But for voice only, even if you have 15 or 20 Mbps, it'll be good. Use ring light to illuminate your face. Yes, very good. I'm using exactly that right now. That's what you see illuminating my face. In addition, I have a light, a light to my right, and that's why you see my right half of my face illuminated better than the left. It's not ideal, but I thought it was acceptable. All right. And for each screen, how early should be registered? Register now, sir. There's no problem. The registration is on. Just click on it and register now, and the job is done. But you can register anytime. We will not close the registration, so it can be done anytime. Can we change the slide from here? Yes, if somebody has a lot of animations and very special projections which they feel the screen manager cannot handle, only, please note, it's only for our invited speakers, our orators, our CME speakers and others, not for our students who are presenting posters and free papers, not even the award papers, but for our orators, for our symposium conveners. If you want to do it yourself, kindly let us know, and we will not insist that you should you should allow us to present, but I would still recommend that you allow us to present, because if you have a problem with your screen sharing, I'm afraid you will lose time. If you're ready for a 25-minute oration, if you lose 5 minutes in trying to share your screen, we have seen this happen with many seniors in the ASI. We will stop you at 20 minutes. So you should not feel offended by that. So it's left to you. If you, the seniors, the invited faculty who are giving, as I said, orations and others, they can choose. And if you let us know, we will in advance, we will tell the screen managers to let you run the show. How do you prevent unwanted elements from logging on? Good question. What we have done is that we have a registration by email. Okay, that email is with Anand, our IT man, and we have asked you to register to these Zoom platforms with the same email. All right, and if he finds an email which is not figuring in the conference registration list, he will cancel the registration. Right now, the facility is that everybody who asks for a registration on Zoom will get that approval email, but he's going to check it. And then if that particular email is not there in the registration of the conference, he will cancel it. So they can't get in here. But what can happen is that somebody else other than the delegate may log in borrowing the email of a paid delegate. That we cannot stop, but it doesn't take two emails. So it's not that way. We can see that to some extent, we can stop the unwanted elements. Background can be blurred or fixed. This is for the presentation. It probably doesn't matter much because the presentations will be running in full screen. But between in the question answer session, for example, then of course the background can be done, but that is left to the screen manager. Recently, ASI had a problem. Rajesh, can you unmute and tell me what it was, please?
Sorry, that was the same question what I asked you, sir.
Okay.
Pata organized something and then they had to cancel it because of so much of background noise. Everybody got it. Same question.
I was in that meeting at the time, but I think this was a classical hacking.
Yes.
Somebody hacked, and that can happen to us also.
True. That's what I wanted to bring
up.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it doesn't, but that was a classic hacking, and it can happen to the Pentagon, Rajesh. So we can be lost on that. Should faculty speaker need to register with screen, and which screen? Faculty speakers, they're all in screen A. Okay. And I can also mention here that there are some special invitees which is done with the permission of the chairman, and they're coming as chairpersons of orations. They're coming in as audience and things like that. They need not pay for registration. We know them, and our IT person has been instructed to continue with their registration on the Zoom platform, so they need not pay for the registration. But these are a handful. I can count 4 people whom we have done. Otherwise, even our most faculty, including myself, we have all registered, and as part of the association, I think we should all register ourselves. Good evening, sir. Do we have a possibility to have a practice run with the slide manager prior to the event? Manjula. Yes, please write an email to me, and I'll try to connect you with the screen managers sometime between now and the 10th and facilitate this event. And if you have a few people, you can gather all of them around you, and we can have another session where we can do it. All right. Or if the screen manager is busy, I can do it myself with you, maybe around 9 p.m. on some day between now and the 10th. All right. I have run out of all the questions here. I invite now comments from the seniors, starting with our chairperson. I'm sorry, Arvind, we started because, you were a little late in logging in, but please, I would like your remarks first. And then Guru Shantappa sir has raised his hand. He can then take it. Yeah, go on, Arvind.
Before I start, one more last. Dan and Nuli has asked one question.
I missed it. Video presentation, can we forward during presentation? Yes, you can ask the screen manager to forward it. It's very simple. There is a line underneath the presentation. All he has to do is skip it. That's all. You can tell him forward it to such and such a position and he'll do it. Yeah, go on, Arvind.
Good evening, everybody.
Sorry, Arvind, let me interrupt. Sir, Noli, sir, that it is possible, but if you're worried about time, you can reduce the duration of the video. That may be a better solution rather than trying to get the screen manager to get it to the same position. Or you have an alternative, you can present yourself. You can ask to present the video yourself, and then you have control on how you project because you're one of the faculty. So that's, we take video presenters as faculty. Yeah. Arvind, sorry, please go ahead. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I thank our scientific committee chairperson, for Dr. Lakshman, for elaborating the things which normally he does meticulously. In my opinion, you have cleared almost all the doubts, sir. Only thing is, many seniors are here, not finding many juniors. That is the only worry. As usual, throughout the year, see many seniors or juniors are probably, if they are digitally more equipped and more knowledgeable, it's good. It's good. So I just want our seniors to interact, if anything, to be cleared, sir. Thank you.
Guru Shantappa, sir.
Sir, it was very nice of you. Everything was crystal clear. There one suggestion I thought for a video presentation. Even though we have sent our videos and like it has been inserted into the slides, it is better to have a standby from the presenter side. Sometimes these videos are the one which will give problem from either side, from the presenter side or from the other side. So if they can keep it standby, and if you permit us, the presenter, if they can display the video and speak, that will be nicer, so that there won't be any interruption.
Done, sir. But please write to us and say that you would like to present it yourself and you would like your submitted video to be just a backup. So if you do that, we will definitely make a note of it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Godi, sir.
One more, the registration, that is for the speech. What my question was, not for the conference, which already I have done. For the screen. So that can be done anytime. That register for the screen individually for all the screens.
It can be done anytime. So it's open now. You just have to screen now.
Okay.
You just register now. Godi, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell only one thing, that the instructions have been given in a surgical precision manner.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Nothing more to add to this. Absolutely surgical precision. And congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have no other comments.
Sir, can I say one?
Please,
can I say one final?
Please, Deepak.
I wish this COVID will die its natural death, and hopefully this will be our last virtual conference.
Yeah, sure.
Next time, I think we should all meet up in person and enjoy it better.
Yeah. Shivram, you have your hand up. Is there? Yeah, please go ahead, Shivram.
See, my point is, I think we should do some marketing of this conference. I don't see much of who is oration giving and their photos in the WhatsApp or anything. I think we should market the conference much better in the last 3-4 days which are left out, so that the attendance can improve. I think Chandru and Dr. Patel can take note of it and do something to marketing of this conference. Every year we do that, and also other state chapters also do that.
Good idea. We will discuss.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you and good night.
Can I add one thing?
Please.
Would we like to use a better word as visibility rather than marketing?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Visibility.
Visibility. It is okay. All right.
Sir Vijay Kumar, I see Professor Vijay Kumar.
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you for logging in, Vijay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just joined. Thank you. I was just listening to all. Thank you.
Okay.
It's more of trying to meet you all
digitally
to say hi rather than anything else. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Arvind sir, what is the registration as of now?
Number.
Number.
I don't know. It had crossed 400 sometime back.
Good, sir. Good. Hope we will meet at Gulbarga next time, sir.
Right.
Next is Hubli, no, sir?
No, Gulbarga.
Gulbarga, no, sir?
Yeah, Gulbarga.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, and I'll close the meeting.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Yeah.